National productive sectors of Colombia and Venezuela reflect in this memorandum of understanding their productive capacities, their export capacities, and we have through complementarity, we are searching for an equilibrium to the shared economic development, and it is a dream, and we are just setting the basis for our development, and Táchira and Zulia are just the first one, so as the presidents of Colombia and Venezuela have spoken, and it is a more united step. You have been referred about complementarity, and so I would like to know if this is just in this memorandum, and so it is included everything that has to do with the energy cooperation. So it is electricity tackled, and our united countries can just see through Latin America, and so our region must be a comprehensive one, an interconnected one. And so you know that Latin America is the more disconnected region of the planet. We've got connections through other continents, but through Latin America and the Caribbean we are completely disconnected, and so we are seeing how through these platforms and through these infrastructure projects can be just reflected in national initiatives that can just integrate it to other parts of the world, but beginning to our home. So the Minister of Commerce and Tourism of Colombia, so you just advanced about the project, but we would like to know about the initiatives of this sector that you represent. Well, this has been a binational exercise. Both nations, we have been just traced a strategic roadmap to allow us for being more integrative, more interconnected, and so we need that our communities, the bordering communities, see on this union, on this agreement, an opportunity of strengthening, transforming our territories, transforming our economic relations in strategic sectors, in agri-food sectors, industry, confection, in the energy sector, and there are lots of bets that have united, and we hope that this would be the consolidation of a territory translated into development, economic and social development of a zone that needs to be dignified and acknowledged. So you've got some figures to detail us how this development has been growing. Well, there have been significant figures. We know that the openness of the border is a need for both nations, and we can see on it precisely the flow of the interchange of the growth, of the productive growth of both borders, and we know that this agreement will help much more the development of this. Alfredo Sales, head of the Colombian cabinet, and would like to know your opinion about this important step in the strengthening of both nations. Well, this is the beginning of a dream that was born since Bolivar, and a dream that was continued by President Chavez, and that it is being consolidated by President Petro and Maduro. And so this is a transformation, a social transformation, and the order of President Gustavo Petro is clear: the need to begin communicating Colombia and Venezuela, not as they try to do, or the mafias that governed in Colombia that try to divide both nations. And so we've just been holding a small conversation until 2 a.m. in the morning with President Maduro, because President Maduro used to speak with us till 3 a.m. And so we consider that this has been very fruitful to strengthen our economies. And so I think it is necessary. It is a dream fulfilled. It is a social transformation to to reach bilateral agreements to be able to develop the urban zone, the economic zone, the agri industry could advance, that entrepreneurs move forward, and that this is a reality that both nations needed. Both sister nations that have been always together, and they try to divide us. I just spoke with the President last night about that great concert of peace, a concert of peace that we are just going to create that thrilling border in which not only we can speak of economy, but also about the love of both peoples. And so we are just fulfilling orders of President Petro and Maduro, and it was necessary. We have been delayed a little bit, but there have been a lot of paperwork to do in energy productive food, water, gas areas, everything that both countries need. And this morning I just commented to President Gustavo Petro about the signature, and the country was expecting this, and Venezuela expected this, and we are very grateful with the government of President Nicolás Maduro, with the Vice President, and with all of you that opened the doors to be able to advance. So we are two nations that need each other, that we can just make this dream true, and that we are just two nations that have to call on the world in which political mafias allied to drug trafficking and corruption have been willing to destroy two sister nations as Colombia and Venezuela. So we request Venezuela and the whole world be very vigilant, because we've got a president like as Petro that they try to assassinate him, poison him, and lately they just try to hit his presidential airplane. And so we are on an alert for the world to know that the mafias are just trying to do that, are allies to corruption, to illicit groups. They want to assassinate a man that wants a truthful peace for Colombia and the region. Thank you very much. Greetings to President Maduro. We are very grateful. And Caracas is very beautiful. I wish this news could see the world could see this news. I haven't been unable to go on X, but I just want to share with the world how beautiful is this country with that open trade. Last night, President Maduro, we just passed by, and I say that how impressed I was about the beauty of this country. Out on the abroad, media outlets are continuing to lie, and so I think that the world must know the truth. And so say to President Maduro that I am going to share this on X. Well, last night we've just been reviewing security affairs. I think that Venezuela gave a significant step. There is a very paramount security affair in Caracas and in other cities of the country. President Petro continues to advance, and I think that we must have the opportunity that mafias must abandon those kinds of actions, and that borders will begin to have security, because entrepreneurs have to take care of the bordering zones, and we have spoken about a plan of action and about a transport binational system in terms of health, housing, and I know very well the border. I worked at the border, and you know that in Norwegian. So I was paid a bolivar per diem there at the border because I just used to work there and I negotiated there. And I think that this deal, this agreement will strengthen Venezuela and much more Colombia, because there's gonna be a different color to cities of Colombia. And I think that President Petro was very interested in it because of this, because during many years this border was taken over by paramilitary groups, by drug smugglers, and with all these new groups, things will work out different. What message would you send to the world? Well, the first message is of sisterhood, because we are sister nations. We are very happy. And Minister Diana said that the growth of trade has been significant. And it is enough to think that what happened during the Duque administration, when he decided to close the border, less than $100 million per year. And so the growth has been gradual but sustained. By 2024, we reached $2 billion. So the assertive policy of President Petro and President Maduro, they did it by thinking about the productive sectors of each country in the supply of all goods, and as just these officials have said, in many sectors there have been so many bilateral deals, projects to strengthen, to boost our capacities, that we are going to mark a new era in bilateral relations and in the shared economic development. And this is very important for productive sectors of both countries. So we must celebrate in the states of Táchira, Zulia, in the northern Santander. It is the happiness to know that we are just on the right track, and those criminal policies of the past of a Colombian elite committed to drug trafficking, to paramilitarism, criminal groups, be defeated and buried. And so the future of our peoples of unity, that's the only path. Simón Bolívar led us to that union. So we are just giving life to that dream, which was just made possible with the memorandum. And so relations that can be built among sister nations are relations of sisterhood, cooperation, and respect for our national laws, and of complementarity. This must be the priority in our bilateral relations. If this would be respected, there wouldn't be the genocide or the expansion of NATO that has a Zionist soul. So the message is of peace. That's why this agreement, this memorandum of understanding for peace, union, and prosperity.
A great message of peace and unity. That was the statement by Executive Vice President of Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, in this signing of cooperation agreements between Venezuela and Colombia. We were live in Caracas as these agreements were presented, and both the authorities of Venezuela and of Colombia were highlighting the importance of this as a path forward that takes into consideration the unity of the region and the things of a bilateral strategy, a strategic roadmap towards the future, highlighting the importance of regional cooperation and also the willingness of both President Nicolás Maduro and Gustavo Petro to continue in that path forwards that is really a continuation of Bolívar's project for the region. We will continue updating the information on this topic and other topics as well, so stay tuned in teleSUR English.